I am Anil Kumar. Welcome to my YouTube channel and the website Global Math Institute. Here is a request from one of our subscribers from Caribbean Islands. This video on circles will discuss some basics and also work out word problems. So I divided the video in two parts. In the first part, we'll look into the radius and diameter, circumference, area, and area of composite circles. This is relatively straightforward, where you apply the formula and get the results. And then we'll look into tricky questions where reverse calculation will be required. That is to say, they will try to find out the radius from the circumference, radius from area. So from area we can also find circumference, and vice versa, from circumference we can find area. So all these questions will be taken one by one. So I hope that gives you a good review of circle within about 20 minutes. Here we have a circle sketched for you. Let's try to understand the general terms. So the first term here is the radius. Circle always have a center point. We normally write this as O, and the radius will be from center to the circumference. So that distance which I have shown you here is called radius, and normally we put letter R for it. Now the other term which is very important to understand is the diameter. So diameter is twice the radius. So one radius, and on the other side a straight line going through the circle. So that we'll refer to as D, the diameter. Any length which is smaller than diameter will be referred to as a chord. For example, this will be a chord. We may not use this term in this particular video, however, it is always good to know. So from here you can find that the longest chord is diameter. So let me write down here. Diameter is also a chord. Perfect. So we have learned one relation here, which is that diameter is equal to twice radius, or we could say that radius is half of diameter. Now let's talk about the terms area and circumference. As far as circumference is concerned, we are looking into the outside boundary of a circle. So this length on the outer side of a circle is referred to as circumference, right? So there is a formula which gives you the value of circumference. So we can write circumference as, the formula is right here. Circumference is pi times diameter d. Since you know diameter is 2 times radius, it is also 2 pi r. So we have used a term pi here. The value of pi is 3.14, which is very important to remember. So pi is basically equal to 3.14. Now let's find what is the area. The formula for area is pi r squared. So area A will be written as pi r square. So that becomes the area of a circle. So area will be like inside area, which will be like shaded area. So whenever there is a question which says find the shaded area, that means the inside area pi r square. So I hope this part is very clear. So let's move on and take few examples on the circle. The very first example here is find radius, diameter, circumference, and area of the given circle. I would like you to pause the video, answer this question, and then look into my suggestions. Now from a graph, how do you find the radius or diameter? Well, diameter is this side. Do you see this is the diameter? And as far as the radius is concerned, half of it is the radius. So you can write down from here that radius r is equal to from 0 to this point, which on the graph can be read as 4. So I hope it is clear. Let me rewrite here. This point here is 4 units and this is minus 4. So the circle is from 4 to minus 4 to 4, right? So this is 4. So from 0 to the end of one point within the circle is the radius, which is equal to 4 units. Since no units are given, we can write this as 4 units. Now diameter d is 2 times radius. So it be 2 times 4, which in this case will be 8 units. Then circumference. I'm writing capital C for circumference. So I'm writing capital C for circumference, small d and r for diameter and radius. And I'll use the term area as capital A. Circumference is 2 pi r or pi times diameter. Now pi is 3.14. Diameter in this case is 8. So we can multiply by 8 and write down the circumference. So 8 times 4 is 32, 3, 8 times 1 is 8 and 3 11, 1, 8 times 3 is 24 and 1 is 25. So if calculator is not allowed, then that is how you're going to do the calculations, and it becomes units. Since in the graph I have not mentioned any units. So these are linear units, length units, which we are going to use. Now area. Area of this will be pi times r square, where r is the radius. Pi is 3.14. So we'll write 3.14 for pi, and for radius we have 4. We'll square this. Now most of the exercises here, you should be allowed a calculator at this stage. So we'll use calculator to do calculations. So let me pull out my calculator, perform the calculation, and then we'll write down the value. So it is 3.14 times 4 square, which is 16, and what I get here is 50 point. Let me convert to decimals. So we get a value which is 50.24. So if you want to round this to whole numbers, in that case you can round this to 50. Units will be unit square. If unit is the unit of length, then the area should be written as unit square, right? So I hope all this is absolutely clear. Now in this particular part of the video, you have all the formulas in one sheet. So that becomes a very important formula sheet for you. With that, let's move on and do some other questions on area. This time the question here is, estimate area and circumference of the circle. So now let us see how to estimate area. Well, a couple of ways. One is approximate calculation. So first thing is, let's find how much is this length to get the radius. So it is very clear from here that the radius r is equal to 3 units. We want to estimate area and circumference. Now area is pi times r square. Pi is 3.14 times r square, which is 3 square. So that is 9 times 3.14, right? So it is 3.14 times 9. Now easy calculations to estimate is that you can assume this to be 10, for example, and then estimate this as 30, right? So our estimate for area will be approximately equal to 30. So I'm not purposely multiplying. Do you see that? I'm just estimating, right? So I'm estimating, since this is more than 3, I'm rounding 9 to 10. 3 times 9 is 30, and so I'm getting my estimated value, right? Definitely, it is different than 30, but that's the estimate, correct? Now let's estimate the value of circumference, which is pi times diameter. Now pi is 3.14, and the diameter in this case is twice radius of 3, right? Radius of 3. So that means we're looking for a value which is 3.14 times 6. So our estimate approximately is 6 times 3 is 18. I'm estimating higher and writing this as 19. Do you see that part? Correct? So when the question is to estimate, you should not be accurately multiplying and writing the answer. Units are very important. So here we'll put the unit for circumference as just unit, and for area we'll put unit square. Is that clear to you? Right? Now there are other ways to estimate also. One method is that we can actually form a square here. So if I draw a square, we know that the area of the circle is less than the square which I am drawing outside. So I know this area is less, and by how much? That is what I need to figure out. So the idea here is that the square area is, it is a 3 by 3 square, right? So 3 by 3, which is 9. So the square area, 3 and 3 6, sorry, not 9. Let me recalculate. So we can actually find the area of the square. Each side here is 6 units, right? Each side is 6 units. Since it is 3 on both the sides, right? 3 here and 3 here, 6 units. So area of the square is 6 times 6, which is 36. We know for sure that the area of circle is less than 36. Now how many units less? So you can count the squares. So one square I can take out from here, which is like this. Do you see that? So I can take out 4 squares, and these two halves can become 1 each, right? So basically we can take out 8 squares from here. So taking out 8 will also give us an estimate of this, which is approximately 28 units square. So this is a good way of estimating, where we actually figure out what area is being removed from the square to get the area of a circle. You get an idea, right? So that is another estimate. So we have 2 estimates here. One is the higher estimate of 30, the other one is 28 square. So somewhere in between we can have a value. Perfect. So those are acceptable values for estimating. Let's move on and take the next question now. The question here is, a circle has radius of 100 centimeters. Find its area in meters square. So we change the units. So I'd like you to pause the video and answer this question. Now look here. What we are given here is that the radius r is equal to 100 centimeters. And we need to find area A in terms of meters square. So there is units which needs to be changed. You see that? Going from centimeters to meters. So what do we know? Well, we know that 100 centimeters is actually equal to only 1 meter. So radius can be written as 1 meter, and the area A will be pi times r square. Pi is 3.14, right? Times 1 square. So we get the area of 3.14 meters square. So if I have a unit circle, This is 1 meter long. Do you see that? In that case, the area is equal to 3.14 meters square. Is that clear to you? Right? So that is how we can actually find area of a circle, a unit circle. So we also call this as unit circle. Unit circle is a circle whose radius is 1 unit. In this case, it is 1 meter. Is it clear to you? Right? So in this case, it is 1 meter. So it is 1 unit. Perfect. Let's move on and take the next question, which is find the area of the door shown below. You can now pause the video and answer this question. You can always use calculator for the calculations, right? So calculator is allowed. How will you find area of this door? Well, the area of the door has got two parts. One is that we have half a circle and the other one is a rectangle. So we need to find A1, which is half circle area. Correct? Now that is half of pi r square. Now what is the radius? So to find the radius, we should be working on this side. Now this is 6, the center value should be 3, right? 3 and 3. So the radius here should be 3. So we'll take half of pi 3 square. So that becomes the area of half the circle or semicircle. Perfect. So this is one part. And second one is we need to find area of the rectangle. Area of the rectangle is length into width. In this case, length is 7 and width is 6, which gives us 42. So now the total area, so we can say area is equal to sum of these two areas. Right? So we can add these two values, which are half of pi, 3 square is 9, let's multiply this by 9 and add 42 to it. So I'm going to use the calculator to find my answer. So what I have here is, we'll multiply 9 by 3.14 and then we'll divide it by 2. We get a value which is 14.13. And we are going to add 42 to this. Plus 42. That gives us 56.13. Now this can be rounded to 56 units square. Is it correct? So that is how you could find the area of the composite figure shown in this particular case. Now let's move on and take the next example. Now here, the question here is, find radius of a circle with same numerical value of circumference and area. Now that is kind of tricky. We are saying same numerical value for circumference and area. What does that mean? Well, it means that we need to figure out what should be the radius so that circumference C is equal to area A. That is to say that we want 2 pi r to be equal to pi r square. That makes sense, right? So we can cancel pi and pi. We can cancel one of these r's. So we get 2 equals to r. So that means if r equals to 2, then the circumference C is equal to area, right? We can check this, correct? So let's check it out. So we can say C is 2 pi times r, which is 2, and that is 4 pi. As far as area is concerned, it is pi r square. R is 2, which is also 4 pi. Do you see that? This is a very important result. If the radius is 2 units. In that case, circumference and area both have same numerical value. Well, their units are different, right? Here, if you have to write the units, you will say unit. And here you will say unit square. So the units are different, the quantity is same. Clear? Now let's take the next example, which is a circle has area of 16 pi centimeters square. Find the circumference. Now here we are given that the circle has area A as equal to 16 pi. Units for the first time are given to us as centimeter square. Now we need to find what is the circumference. Well, to find circumference, we should also calculate what is the value of r. So let's go and do our backward calculations. Area is pi r square, which is given to us as 16 pi. We can cancel this pi and pi, so we get r square as equal to 16. So from here, r is square root of 16. We know 4 square is 16, square root of 16 is 4. So we get the value of r as 4. Once we know that, we can find what circumference is. Now circumference is 2 pi r. So it is equals to 2 times 3.14 times r4, which is 8 times 3.14. You can use calculator to find this answer. So 8 times 3.14 is around 25.12. We can write this as 25.12, which you can round to 25 units, and the unit in this case is centimeters. Does it make sense to you? So that is how such questions will be done. So we found in this case that the radius was 4, and then we calculated the value of circumference. So here we found circumference from the given area. Let's take the next example, which is a circle has circumference of 6 pi centimeters. Find its area. So this time we are given the circumference. It's kind of reverse problem. Circumference is given to us in terms of pi, 6 pi centimeters. And what we need to find is what is the area. So from circumference we can find the radius. The formula is 2 pi r. So 2 pi r is equal to 6 pi, which gives us pi and pi cancels. We get 2r equals to 6. R equals to 6 divided by 2. So we know r is equal to 3. Once we know what r is, we can definitely find area A as pi r square. That's the formula. So pi is 3.14 times radius 3 square, and that gives you 3.14 times 9. And this time let's calculate the accurate value. 3 times 3.14. It gives us a value between 28 and 30, 28.26. So last time we remember we estimated something in between 28 and 30. So it is very close to 28, which is 28.26, and the units are centimeters square. Now it is kind of important to understand that units are very important to write. If you don't write units, some marks will be deducted. So in this case, we found that the radius is 3 units. Unit was centimeters. 2 more questions to go. We're almost at the end. The question here is, a circle has area of 382.5 centimeters square. Find its radius. So this time we have to find the radius. This is the actual question which has been asked, right? So the circle area is given to us as equal to 382.5 centimeters square. And what is the formula for area? Formula for area is pi r square, which should be equal to 382.5. So from here we can divide this value of 382.5 by the value pi, right, which is equal to r square is 382.5 divided by 3.14. So let's calculate using the calculator. 382.5 divided by 3.14 gives us a value which is 121.8. So this value here is 121.8. So what we get here is r is equal to, let me write down, r is 121.8. We know 11 square, sorry, r square, right? Not r square. So r will be square root of 121.8, which is slightly more than 11. So we'll write this as 11 point. We can use the calculator to find the square root. So we'll do square root of our answer and we get a value which is 11.03, or you can write 11.04, which can be rounded to 11. The units are centimeters, so we'll write 11 centimeters as our answer. Is that clear to you? Perfect. So once again, let's go through this. If we are given the area, then pi r square is the formula. So equate pi r square with the given area. Now divide by pi, whose values is 3.14, and then find square root to get the value of radius r. Is that clear? That brings us to the end. The last question here is find the shaded area. Radius of the given circles is 6 centimeters. It should have been 6 centimeters. Let me just change this to centimeters, and 2 centimeters. So this one is 2 centimeters and the center will be somewhere there, is 6 centimeters. We need to find the area of the yellow portion shown. So basically we'll again find two areas, A1 and A2. The difference is the area of our interest. So A1, the big area, is how much? A1 is pi times r square, which is 3.14 times the radius, which is 6 square. A2, the small circle area, is also pi r square. However, the radius is 2. So it is 3.14 times 2 square. The area which we want of shaded region is bigger area A1 minus smaller area A2, right? So that is what shaded area is. So we can write down 3.14 times 36 minus 3.14 times 4. Now how do I get 36 and 4? Well, 6 squared is 36, right? So I wrote this as 36 and this as 4. You get it, right? So I could have done this here also. I could write this as 3.14 times 4, correct? And here, let me write here, 3.14 times 36, right? Okay. Now we can use our calculator to find this answer. So, or sometimes we do a calculation 3.14 times 36 minus 4. Anyway, we'll use the calculator to calculate this answer. 3.14 times 36, and from here we'll take away, I should write in brackets, 3.14 times 4, and that gives you 100.48. And the units here are centimeters square, correct? So approximately we get 100.5 centimeters square as the area of the shaded region. Perfect. So I hope with this you learned quite a bit about the circles. So we started with the basics, understanding what is the radius in a circle, what is the diameter, how are they related. We know that the radius is half of the diameter, or diameter is twice the radius. Circumference is 2 pi r or pi d, right? So we could also write this as 2 pi r, which is also equals to pi d. The area is pi r square. When it comes to composite figures, we have to add or subtract the areas as the case may be. And then we did some reverse calculations. We calculated radius from the circumference, we calculated radius from area. We also calculated area from circumference and circumference from area. So I hope that gives you good insight, knowledge about how circle radius, circumference and area of a circle are connected. I hope that makes sense. Feel free, write your comment, share your views, and if you like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. Thanks for your time and all the best.